Welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. For my fellow babies who are Patreon patrons, thank you for your patronage. For my other fellow babies who are so thoughtful that they link their Amazon Prime account to their Twitch Prime account, Shane, thanks you. He's getting paid a couple bucks a month. That's helpful. Easy to renew. We appreciate it. Today's question from Patreon, somebody who actually pays. Thank you. From Clint Kaknowski, or Kachnowski, probably Kaknowski. Hi, Pack. Oh, you're a Cack and I'm a Pack. I love that. Love the show. I love your name. Been following it for ages now. Pre-sifted. Jesus, pre-sifted is ages. That's how old we are. What does either company gain from holding on to the pricing info for PS5 or Xbox Series X? With these boxes having fixed costs, can Microsoft or Sony really afford to slash the price in response to competition? These are both huge steps up in tech that we haven't seen since Xbox 360, custom GPUs, and the Sony cell processor. Can't imagine there's fat to trim. Thanks. Yeah, that's right. The only way that they come down the cost curve materially is scale. The one part of the boxes that'll keep coming down is flash, is storage. But it's shocking how cheap flash is, and it keeps getting cheaper. The CPU, GPU, you're only going to be able to save money if they start making tens of millions of them. So they're custom. I mean, they are, but they're custom, kind of comparable to a relatively inexpensive chipset, $100, 150 maybe. It's really all the DDR stuff that's really expensive. The RAM is just super expensive. So you're right. I believe the build out that says $450 is the cost for probably both boxes. And the reason they're holding on to pricing is that neither really wants to sell it at a loss. And if Sony goes 500, I think Microsoft could go 500 and feel like the playing field's even, could go 449 and sell it at cost and be okay with that. If Sony goes 449 at cost, Microsoft's going to price lower. So Microsoft's waiting because they intend to price lower because they don't want to sell fewer units. And I think Microsoft maybe is wrong about this, but I think Microsoft believes they sold fewer Xboxes last cycle because they managed to launch so poorly. They had onerous digital rights management. They had Kinect in there that nobody wanted. They priced $100 higher. So DRM that nobody wanted, Kinect that nobody wanted, and then they priced more. So pay us more for something you don't want. They are determined not to do that. So this time it's pay us less for something that you want just as much. And so they are waiting so they can price $50 below the PlayStation. And if Sony is $449, Microsoft will be $399 and lose money. And if Sony is $499, Microsoft will be $449 and break even. So they're waiting. That's it. So what do they have to gain? I don't think winning matters that much to either guy. I think selling a lot of units matters to either guy. And I think they want you in the ecosystem because especially the way Xbox is set up right now, and Sony's going to follow, but Xbox now with the Game Pass Pro or whatever it's called, it's something like $30 a month, and you can get a console and 100 games and an Xbox Live subscription. And it's only for a couple of years, but if they can monetize $700, $800 in a couple of years from you, that's worth a lot. And so every unit they sell, is $700, maybe $800. And even if they just sell you a unit for $450, if you sign up for Game Pass and Xbox Live, you're paying them like $20 a month. It's a lot in perpetuity. That's a lot. So they look at the lifetime value of that and they're like, my God, you're worth $2,000 to us. So selling 10 million units times 2,000 is $20 billion. It's a lot. So that's how they're looking at it. And I think Sony's going to announce, I think, more things with PlayStation Now and some type of subscription program. I actually think the other thing that they're waiting for is to figure out if they want to sell these things on an installment basis. And I really do think you're going to get that. So if Sony says 500, Microsoft might be able to figure out a bundle that costs you $500 but doesn't feel like it costs $500. And so they could do something, like $15 a month for 3 years, which is $540. And you might be okay with that. So I could see them saying for $20 a month, nothing down, you get Xbox Live and an Xbox Series X, and no money up front, just good credit. And I could actually see them selling a lot of boxes. So I think they're waiting to see. I think that's what it comes down to. Interesting also, like with the recession, people are going to have their credit scores impacted. And so you might not get good credit. You might not be able to do that kind of program. But I think that's the plan. So that's what they're waiting for. Thank you, Clint, in particular, for being a Patreon patron. Thank you, all of our Patreon patrons. Thank you, our Amazon Prime members who have linked their Twitch Prime account. Thank you for following us and subscribing on YouTube. And thank you for following me on Twitter. See you next time.